You have 50 pounds of rice and beans stockpiled, but the power just went out, and it's not coming back for weeks. How do you turn those rock-hard beans into a meal without setting your house on fire or dying from carbon monoxide poisoning? Most people think a charcoal grill in the living room is the answer. That mistake kills families every single winter. I'm going to show you the 5 safest methods for indoor cooking when the grid is dead. We are going to look at the specific fuel types you need to hoard now, and I'm going to teach you an insulation secret from the 1900s that allows you to cook a full pot of stew using only 5 minutes of fuel. This single trick will double the lifespan of your stockpile. Let's build your grid-down kitchen. Raw beans won't keep you alive, they'll just break your teeth. And if you try to bring your propane BBQ grill into the living room to cook them, you won't wake up tomorrow. Carbon monoxide is the silent killer of the unprepared. But you still need a hot meal. Hot food isn't just nutrition, it's morale. It's the difference between despair and hope when the house is freezing. Today, we are treating fuel like gold. In a crisis, calories are currency, but fuel is the vault that keeps them safe. We are going to test butane versus propane, and I'm going to teach you a technique called thermal retention cooking. It sounds technical, but it's actually a peasant hack that saves you 80% of your fuel. Let's start with what not to do, because this is where people die. When the Texas freeze happened, families brought charcoal grills inside to heat food and stay warm. They never woke up. Carbon monoxide, or CO, binds to your red blood cells 200 times tighter than oxygen. You don't choke, you just fall asleep. Charcoal produces massive amounts of CO. Never under any circumstances burn charcoal or wood indoors unless you have a dedicated fireplace with a working chimney. Pause the video, look at your ceiling. Do you have a carbon monoxide detector? If you are planning to cook indoors during a blackout, this $20 device is more important than your food. If you don't have one, or if it doesn't have fresh batteries, you are not ready to cook inside. So, what can you use? For indoor cooking, my top choice is a single-burner butane stove. You've seen these at omelet stations and hotels. Why butane? First, safety. These units usually have a tip-over sensor that cuts the gas if the stove gets knocked over. Second, the flame is cleaner. While propane is great, the high-pressure green bottles can be finicky to thread in the dark, and they are prone to leaking if the seal isn't perfect. A canister costs about $2 and gives you roughly 2 to 4 hours of cooking time depending on the heat setting. For a 30-day blackout, you'd want about 15 to 20 of these canisters. They stack efficiently and act as your primary grid-down range. But here's the problem. If you try to simmer a pot of beans for 3 hours on this, you will burn through 2 canisters for 1 meal. You will run out of fuel in a week. That is where physics comes in. This isn't just for keeping your coffee hot. This is a survival cooking tool. Thermal retention cooking works on a simple principle. Trapped heat continues to cook food. If you bring rice or oatmeal to a boil, it hits 212 degrees Fahrenheit. If you trap that heat, it stays near 200 degrees for hours. Here's the workflow. 1. Put your oats and water in a pot on your butane stove. 2. Bring it to a rolling boil. This takes maybe 3 minutes of fuel. 3. Immediately pour it into the thermos and seal it tight. 4. Shake it up and leave it for 2 hours. When you open it, the food is perfectly cooked. You use 3 minutes of fuel instead of 20. That is a 600% increase in efficiency. Every prepper needs a wide-mouth thermos for this exact reason. But you can't cook a whole dinner for a family of 4 in a thermos. For that, we need to build a haybox. In the pioneer days, they used hay. We are going to use blankets or towels. The concept is the same as the thermos, but on a larger scale. Look around your living room. Pillows, couch cushions, winter coats. You aren't just looking at comfort, you are looking at insulation. Anything that traps air can be part of your cooking system. Here is the demo. I'm taking a Dutch oven cast iron holds heat incredibly well filled with soup ingredients. I bring this to a hard boil for 10 minutes. This ensures the meat is safe and the veggies are started. Now I turn off the stove. Fast. I nest it into the blankets, cover it with a pillow, and weigh it down. No heat can escape. Inside that nest, the temperature will stay above 160 degrees, the danger zone for bacteria, for 4 to 6 hours. You can start dinner at noon, use 10 minutes of fuel, and eat a piping hot stew at 6 o'clock p.m. What if you run out of butane? You need backups to your backups. First, canned heat or sterno. This is what caterers use to keep food warm. It is alcohol-based and generally safe for indoor use. But listen closely, sterno is weak. It will not boil a large pot of water effectively. It is for heating up canned soup or MREs. Don't rely on this to cook raw beans. You'll starve before they get soft. Then we have tea candles. You can actually boil a cup of water with 3 or 4 tea candles if you shield the wind. It's slow, but in a total collapse, it works. And remember the trick from our other video? A crayon burns for 30 minutes. In a desperate situation, 3 crayons bundled together can heat a cup of broth. It smells terrible, but it works. Let's talk about fuel economics. Not all food costs the same to cook. If you are storing dry kidney beans, you have a fuel-expensive food. They take hours to soften. If you are storing pasta or white rice, you have fuel-cheap food. If you must cook beans, you have to soak them for 12 to 24 hours first. This cuts the cooking time in half. But here is a warning you need to know. Kidney beans contain a toxin called phytohemagglutinin. If you slow cook them without boiling them first, that toxin actually becomes more potent. You can poison your whole family. You must boil kidney beans for at least 10 minutes before you put them in the haybox. White rice is the king of efficiency. Brown rice takes 45 minutes and has oils that go rancid. White rice takes 15 minutes. Store white rice. Store angel hair pasta. It cooks in 3 minutes. When fuel is scarce, thin pasta is a strategic advantage. Even with indoor-safe butane or canned heat, you are burning oxygen and creating fumes. You need to follow the two-window rule. Crack one window an inch, crack another window across the room an inch. This creates a cross draft. It pulls fresh air in and pushes exhaust out. Even in the winter, you have to do this. Yes, you lose a little heat, but you keep your lungs working. Finally, what if you have zero fuel? What if the gas leaked out? What if you are injured and can't cook? You need 30% of your stockpile to be no cook. This is your peanut butter, your canned tuna, your crackers, and your canned fruit. Canned chili can be eaten cold. It's gross, but it's safe because it's already cooked in the can. Be honest. When was the last time you ate cold ravioli? Try it this week. It's a reality check. If your morale tanks because your food is cold, you need to know that now, not when the lights are out. Cooking without electricity isn't magic. It's physics. You generate heat efficiently and you trap it aggressively. If you have a butane stove, a way to insulate your pot, and a carbon monoxide detector, you are ahead of 99% of the population. You aren't just surviving, you're maintaining a standard of living. I've put together a free grid-down kitchen checklist. It includes the exact fuel calculations for 30 days, the haybox build instructions, and a list of the most fuel-efficient foods to stockpile. Click the link in the description to get it, and comment below. What is your primary backup stove right now? Are you team propane or team butane? I want to see the debate in the comments. Stay safe, stay fed, and I'll see you in the next video.